Hey guys, as some of you may know, school has started back up again for me, and that means for those high school seniors out there, it's time to start applying for colleges. And so since I've already gone through this whole college application process, I thought it'd be nice to take a little bit of time and talk about what I did during my college application and my entire process of applying to colleges. Now, I won't be going into too much detail on my Common App itself. If you want to know more about that, then I have videos on it. I'll link it in iCard above and description below. But without further ado, let's continue. Around this time was when I actually started working on my application for college. Honestly, for me, I didn't even really think about applying to colleges or just colleges in general until my senior year of high school. Like, I kind of knew what was going on and that there was like the looming sense of danger in terms of college application all throughout high school, but never did I really do anything about it. You know, I kind of just ignored it until I had to actually start doing something about it, which is something I would definitely not recommend you guys doing. And so the first thing I had to do was take my SAT, which I did during my junior year of high school. All in all, I took a total of 2 official SATs, as well as a couple of practice ones before I got a score that I was fine with. I also took the ACT primarily because my school actually offered it. So what I did was just take one practice ACT before taking the one that my school offered. And I think I got pretty lucky with my score, honestly. I only practiced it once, but still got a 35 on it. And another thing is that I know some colleges force you to send all of your test scores, so I would definitely recommend to do a bunch of practice ones before actually diving into the real one. And as just a side note, I know colleges like MIT, like Caltech, also require subject tests to take, and sometimes I would say that it's good to show proficiency in subjects that are beyond what the SAT and ACT actually test on. So taking SAT subject tests can actually benefit you, even if colleges don't require the subject test. So that's why I also went and took the Math 2 subject test, which I got a 790 on. You know, not an 800, but I was, fine with that score, and Rice didn't really require more than that in terms of subject tests, so I just went with it. After I got all my tests done, the next thing was doing a bunch of research on exactly what colleges that I wanted to go to. There's a lot of factors that are involved in deciding what colleges are right for you and what colleges are not, and it honestly just depends a lot on yourself and your own personal interests. So I won't go into detail on exactly like what things you should be looking for in a college, because that again depends and varies from person to person. But I would suggest when applying to colleges, you should go for more than less. For a lot of people, the general format is to apply to like 1 or 2 safety schools, and then some schools that you'd love to get into but are generally harder to be accepted, and then finally as many reach schools as you want. For me, the way UT accepts people, I was automatically admitted into UT, and so I only applied to 1 safety school, which was UT, and then from there, since I was auto-accepted, I just decided to apply to all the reach schools that I could. So for me specifically, I applied to Yale, Duke, Harvard, Princeton, Northwestern, Brown, and then of course Rice. Another thing that a lot of people do is college visits. Honestly, unless you have a lot of time on your hands, or if you start college searching early, then this should probably be reserved just for the colleges that you're really interested in and really want to learn more about. You know, schools do care if you show demonstrated interest by going through college visits, campus tours, and even doing interviews with them. But again, since I kind of started doing those stuff late, the only college that I visited and did an interview with was Rice University. For me, I was really interested in the school, and it was close to where I lived. So, on a whim one day during the summer of my senior year, I just drove down and visited Rice, as well as did a college interview. Of course, I want to say this again, if you guys choose to go visit a college, then I would highly suggest doing a on-campus interview if they provide one. It's a really good way to get directly connected with the admissions office and just show them like who you are as a person instead of just on paper. Now that I had a list of colleges in mind, it was finally time for me to start the application. And the biggest suggestion I give for doing the application is to start early and revise often. So for me, I started my Common App in August, and I continued doing it throughout the first semester of my senior year. For me, I still had schoolwork as well as band that I had to juggle, and so much of my weekdays I couldn't really work on my Common App. And because of that, I decided to schedule just a couple of hours every Saturday to go to the library and just grind on the Common App. And so I just completed it chronologically. First by filling out basic information, then my activities, and finally my essays. So the essays portion, it included my personal essay as well as any college-related essays or college-related questions that I had to answer. And I probably spent about 60 to 70% of my time working on my Common App just to do those essays. But I will say that they're really important. So spending that much time on the essays is honestly something that I would recommend. And again, start early, revise often, have your friends go and critique it, go give you suggestions. My first draft was significantly different than my final draft. And honestly, I thought it was infinitely better as well. So the last thing I did when making my application was to actually apply for those scholarships. My school actually had a database of like all sorts of scholarships for everyone and everything. So most of the ones that I applied actually came from that database. You know, if your school has like a database of scholarships, then definitely use that as a resource. I feel like it's a lot easier than just trying to search online for like scholarships that pertain to your major or pertain to your field of study. Now, applying to scholarships, in my opinion, is really, really tedious, since most of them would actually require completely separate essays just to apply for them. And honestly, a lot of them don't really even give you that much money in terms of how much you have to pay for school nowadays. But of course, you still have to write your essays well to be even considered. And so I found like applying for scholarships just to be the most tedious part of applying to colleges. How I really handled that was I just put a quota on myself and said, okay, every week I should complete at least 2 scholarships. And so I would set myself some time over the weekend, go to the library, apply 2 scholarships, and then be like, okay, that's it. I'll look for scholarships next week and do them again. After weeks go by, you'll eventually apply to like a dozen or so scholarships, which is honestly a lot and isn't too straining on yourself in terms of writing all the essays, searching and applying for all these scholarships, because you are only doing essentially 2 every week. And that was it. I managed to finish my entire college application by the end of November, which meant that I had all winter break, all of my second semester just to relax. For those of you out there thinking about applying to colleges or actually in the process of applying to colleges right now, hopefully me talking about my entire college application process has helped you guys in some way. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.